Good morning and welcome to our second of what is probably going to be many Sunday services that we do in this fashion. Last week I had hoped that this was going to be a couple of weeks, but everything I'm reading says it's going to be different than that, and we have to be prepared for that. So we will continue to do this every Sunday, and my guess is that Easter Sunday will be much the same. I'm hoping to have some special music at that time. I want to, a lot of darkness and sadness. I want to start with on a little lighter note. There was a pastor many years ago who lived in the parsonage next to the church, and it came time where the parsonage needed a paint job. And the pastor thought to himself, you know what, I could use a little extra money. How about I volunteer to do so? And so the council agreed that the pastor could paint the house. They would pay him, and they would pay for the paint. And and when the pastor got to the paint store and they told him how much the paint was going to be, he had another very bright idea. If I bought paint thinner, I could thin the paint and then pocket the extra money that they gave me for the paint. He thought that was a brilliant idea. So he painted the whole parsonage, and when he got done, it looked absolutely spectacular. And he was very proud of himself, especially for the fact that he put a couple of extra bucks in his pocket. And the night, Saturday night, a storm came through, and it poured rain. And the rain washed all the paint off of the parsonage that was next to the church. And the man began to crying, and he looked up to God, and he said, "What am I going to do?" And the heavens parted, and a voice came down, and the voice said, "Repaint and thin no more." Now this is where I'd like some canned laughter so that people can hear how funny that was. Okay. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. One of my favorite songs, and the last line of the song is what I'm going to talk about today. The gospel reading, I'm going to send that along. It's quite a long reading. It's the story in John of the blind man who was healed by Jesus. And after he's healed by Jesus, the scribes and the Pharisees got in this argument as to who gave Jesus the power and authority to heal the blind man. And they questioned him quite thoroughly as to who was this man that did the healing and why should he be healed. And the man shrugged. He says, "The only thing I know is that I was blind and now I see." The story for us, this is a metaphor. Most of us are not blind, and we don't need healing of our sight, although as we get older, we could use a little help with that. But it's a metaphor for us, and the question for us today is, what are we blind about? What are we not seeing that maybe God can help us to see? And with this whole virus thing that is spreading across the world, it is my hope and prayer that we are going to begin to see things differently and understand things differently than the way we always have understood them. It was disturbing the other day talking to my brother in Wisconsin that he said they've suspended all sale of guns, handguns, and ammunition. And I thought, what does that have to do with the virus? And he says there has been a run on sales of guns and ammo at this time. And he says it's the doomsday preppers. It's those people who foresee that this is going to unravel in a very negative way, and they're out buying guns and ammunition, and they've had to suspend it. This is not opening our eyes. This is not seeing the world the way it really is, and this is not what God intends us to do. If we can use this time that we have, and a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands, if we can use this time to become stronger, to become more spiritual, to become stronger in our faith, then this is going to be a good thing. If this whole virus thing helps us to slow our lives down and to see the world a little bit differently, then so be it. I'm doing double the meditation that I used to do. I do it at home when I get up in the morning, and when I come to church during the day, I do another 15 or 20 minutes of meditation. And as my life slows down, I'm beginning to see things as I drive in the car that I've driven past for 33 years and never saw before. Maybe this is what the hymn is talking about. I was blind, but now I see. My hope also is, and through this virus, that maybe this will be a way for us to heal our world. And if you can imagine that if the world leaders got together and they said that the only way for us to heal the world, the only way for us to stop the global warming and all the effects that are happening from that is to totally shut the world down, and with the expense of losing millions of jobs and not people having to be isolated in their houses, who would sign up for that? No country or world leader would sign up for it, but this is what we've signed up for now because of this virus. And they're already beginning to see the signs that the world is healing. Our planet is healing, and maybe our eyes are being opened to what it is we have done to our planet to this point. If in this time that we are in isolation, if we draw closer together as families, then this is going to be an awesome thing. And if we are not close as a family now, maybe we need to do some self-reflection and understand, why are we not close? And most people, when their families have conflict and discord, they look to the other and point the finger and say, it's not me, it's them. And if they change, then our family will change. Maybe it's time for us to take the blinders off and to see things the way the world really is, and to understand that maybe we have contributed to the brokenness. And maybe we need to take responsibility for that. In an email that I sent out this week, I said to people, if now is the time, if now might be an awesome time for us to heal these broken relationships. And the way to heal them is to say, if I have contributed in any way to the brokenness of our relationship, I want to apologize for that. And I pray to God that He would give us the courage to heal this relationship and to move forward. This is a way for us to open our eyes and to see things the way they really are. This is a rare opportunity, and we can look at things a couple of different ways, and we can become frightened, and we can become afraid of our fellow human beings, or this is a time of reflection when we look inward and we look for God in our lives, and we look to the things that we have, the bad habits that we have created in our lives that have prevented us from seeing things the way they really are. It is my hope and my dream and my wish that our eyes become opened. I want to end today with something that I have found on the somebody sent to me, and it's very powerful. I'm sure a lot of these things are going across the internet, but I found this one of the most powerful. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being, and they were still. And they listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, and some danced. Some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses, they made new choices, they dreamed new images, and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully, as they had been healed themselves. God is with us. God is healing. We move forward. Amen.